writers. Today we are going to work on adding action to setting in our realistic fiction stories. Now, what do I mean by that? I want you to think of a time that maybe you were woken up in the middle of the night and you realize that you didn't know where you were. It all happened so fast. You can't see anything. I want you to think about that we don't want to leave any of our readers in the dark like that. If we don't give enough description or dialogue, that's exactly what we're doing to our readers. We're making them feel what we call disoriented, like, huh? What's going on? Where am I? So we want to make sure that you show the time and place, as well as maybe the thoughts and actions of your characters so that your readers know exactly what's going on. I want to take a look at some examples of what I mean by this and what it could look like to relook at a part in a realistic fiction story and revise it so that we don't leave our readers confused. So when you're writing scenes, it's easy to rely on dialogue, resulting in characters who don't seem to be in anywhere in particular. Sometimes we get writing and really getting going and what's going on, but we want to make sure we don't have a full page of just dialogue. I want you to think about some of the texts you're reading at home, such as Number the Stars. Think about what Lois Lowry does when she writes. Does she just have pages and pages of dialogue and nothing in between explaining where or what's happening or some thoughts of the characters? It's your job today to be thinking about your writing like you're an author, because you are authors of your own writing. Let's see our examples here. This is an example of just dialogue, and I want you to think about what you notice. Look at the example. I didn't know what to do. I looked at her. Hey, are you mad at me? I asked. No, are you mad at me? She asked. I took a deep breath. No, I don't think so, I said. Great, then let's race, she said. Well, I want you to pause the video and think about, what do you notice? And you're going to see a form like this, exactly like this in your Seesaw assignment. Some things that I noticed is that, well, who's talking here? I don't know where they are, and I'm not exactly quite sure what they're referring to. What does it need to make it more clear? Revise this example using at least 2 sentences. So we want to think about, what could we add to this section here to make it more clear for our readers? I noticed that I don't have a who. We have a lot of pronouns such as she and I, but we have no names. That might be helpful. I also noticed that we're kind of dropped in the middle of a scene, which is okay, but we're still a little bit disoriented. Where are they? Are they racing at school? Are they racing in the neighborhood? Are they racing in the park? We need to figure out how we can incorporate some of those details into this to make it more clear. You will take a moment and practice this in your Seesaw assignment as well, thinking about how you can revise this to give at least 2 sentences. Let me show you what a revised version would look like if I added setting and dialogue. Are you mad at me? I asked as we walked down the sidewalk together. No. Are you mad at me? Zoe responded. A car whizzed past us, kicking up water from the rain-filled gutters as it went. I thought about what Zoe was asking and shifted the umbrella so that it protected her as well as me. With my other hand, I tugged on my backpack straps. My bag was heavy from all the homework our teacher had given us. No, I'm not mad, I said. She smiled at me from beneath the yellow rain hood. Good, then let's race. She took off ahead of me, splashing through every puddle on the sidewalk. The rain streamed down on her. I pulled in my umbrella and took off after her. I caught up with her, then ran easily in her wake. Wow. Noticing how we transformed from this paragraph here to what we did here. Some things that you might want to pay attention to is that, well, now I know where they are. They even said, as we walked down the sidewalk together, notice how the author included that, even in just the first line. I also noticed that to break up some of this dialogue and this talking, they added description of where they were. A car whizzed past us, using some of those onomatopoeia words, using descriptive language, rain-filled gutters. So we know it's a rainy, icky day. And noticing kind of what they're carrying. My bag was heavy from all the homework our teacher had given us. Even just adding those simple little details. Then they added in the dialogue again. And then notice there's even more description at the bottom of this. I got a sense here from the characters that they resolved whatever issue that they were going through. Again, we're being dropped into a middle of a scene here. But we want to make sure that we know exactly how the characters might be feeling and the setting of the story using that dialogue. So, writers, today what you're going to do is you're going to practice first rewriting this following scene using more dialogue and describing the setting. You are going to write your revision in the box. So if I scroll down here, even more, you'll see a revision box. I gave you another example of a paragraph that has just a lot of dialogue and really not a lot of description. We had to move everything inside. It seemed like the longest day ever. Bella, come here, my mom yelled. There was a girl there, and she said, Hi, I'm Nancy. I said, Hi, I'm Bella. Do you like to hike? Nancy asked. Yes, I replied. Cool, let's go, Nancy said. Kind of similar here. How can we break up this dialogue using description in the setting? So I want you to use the example from above to help you. Notice what the author did, and you're going to do your revision down here. Lastly, it's your turn to try this in your own writing. So once you've gone through steps 1, 2, and 3, your fourth step is to now try this in your own. You are going to follow these steps to revise a specific scene in your story that is missing some key setting details and dialogue. So here's your step 1. You're going to reread your entire realistic fiction story, and you're going to pause throughout and ask yourself, does this make sense? Is it clear enough? Step 2, you are going to select the part that you need to add more to the setting and add more dialogue. You can highlight it using the highlighter tool. I'll show you where that is. In order to highlight this, what I have to do is highlight that part, and you can go to this little marker here, and you can select your color. I suggest using yellow. It's a little bit easier to see. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add in dialogue between the two characters in the scene, showing how the characters are feeling. You can add in a description of the setting so your readers know where the story is taking place. Take a look again at the example that I provided you if you need some help with this. Okay? So you want to make sure that you have your realistic fiction story there, and your teachers should be able to know which part you revised because you have it highlighted in yellow. All right, writers, we are excited to see all the great additions, dialogue, and descriptions you're going to add to your story.